Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. I'm very privileged and honored today to be sitting with two absolute legends. First one, in no particular order, Mr. Will Sergeant, who is arguably one of the most iconic guitarists of our generation from Echo and the Bunnymen. How are you, sir?
I'm alright, yeah, pretty good. Just managed to navigate the tube. It's all new to me, this.
Well, you're in good hands with your partner in crime there.
Yeah.
My partner in crime as well, Mr. Brian Griffin, regular contributor to the channel. Brian,
nice to meet you all, whatever you might be.
Well, I think this is going to be a lot of fun because you can see, guys, there's tremendous chemistry between these two, and you can just feel the camaraderie and friendship from the moment we walked into the room. We've got a lot to talk about today, but I want to start off, of course, with the breaking news of Will's new book, which is Echoes. This is obviously the second one. This, correct me if I'm wrong at any point, sir, this was your debut one.
Yeah.
This was a Sunday Times bestseller.
Yeah.
And of course you've come back for more, and this has just gone available recently.
Yeah.
And you've spoken about doing a third one at some point.
Yeah, I've already started to compile ideas for the third one. Yeah. I know it's like, a bit ridiculous. But
well, it's
a big story.
It's funny, and not to sidetrack, but Brian's obviously done he's done Black Country Dada, and funny enough, the other day, Brian, we were
Black Kingdom before that.
Black Kingdom, yes, and then
one.
yes, and then
give you a Black Kingdom will before you go, yeah?
and Black Country Dada. But you also spoke the other day about doing a third one as well.
I do. I've got the title for it already. I don't want. It's a great title, but I don't want to give it away.
All right, don't give it away.
Don't give it away. But Will took Black Country Dada.
Yeah,
I was really thrilled with that. That word, Dada.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to sort of talk a little bit about this book. Obviously, let's start with the first one. Just run the viewers through, where this starts. It's your life story from birth.
This one is it's from when I was 3, because that's not the first thing I can remember really. And then it just goes through growing up in the 60s and the 70s, and a lot of people can relate to it. No internet or a couple of channels on the telly, that sort of thing. Everyone says, "Oh, it was just like me when I was a kid." Like breaking windows in greenhouses and firing air guns at each other, all that sort of stuff.
Well, very, very relatable. I mean, you both had humble upbringings, sort of.
Yeah, but it was normal. It was not like you didn't think about it, did you? It was just that's the way it was. You weren't going, "Oh, I want to be posh," or
no, you didn't.
Have real butter.
You had no desire to be.
Not long after the war. Yeah.
And this concludes at what age?
What year? About 20, something like that, 20, 21 maybe.
And then this is sort of like the real juicy stuff with...
This one is when Pete DeFreitas joins the band.
Yes.
And basically we skyrocketed, just completely made the band into what it is. It's like we started out just a 3-piece, there's a picture of us as 3 with a drum machine, and that was kind of like slightly an interesting concept, a guitar band with a drum machine. Like I could only think of, I think Cabaret Voltaire maybe. I don't know whether they came a bit later, probably not. And there was a German band, a French band called Metal Airbane. They had a drum machine, but they had theirs like about, they were like a punk band. And they had it dead fast. And they were the only 2 bands I really knew that had drum machines. That had guitars. There was other ones, obviously, with electronics and keyboards and stuff, Kraftwerk and Orchestral Maneuvers and loads of Lad Dusseldorf and all these other German bands and everything. So it was a bit of an interesting thing, I thought. It sort of made you stand out a little bit. But then when Pete DeFreitas joined, because the drum machine was very limited, it only had two real settings that we used. There was Rock 1 and Rock 2. That was it. And then it was all like mambo and bossa nova. We weren't bothering with that. Slow waltz was one.
Yeah.
And they were just, they weren't punk rock. But so it was at very early days of like electronic drums, and there was no samplers or anything like that.
Well, it was a very exciting time because, I mean, you're definitely of the pioneers of and setting the standard to which things are measured by these days even.
Yeah, I think it we definitely opened up a few doors for a few people, you know, that sort of thing.
It's interesting, Will, and of course, you know, you and Brian are, you know, both artists in different fields. But one thing I noticed that I can, you know, get from Brian as well is, and a lot of the people who we deem legends now, as yourselves, a lot of you, you know, when you went out to do this, it wasn't out there to necessarily push the frontiers. You were just doing what you did, and it all happened really naturally.
That's exactly what happened. It was never about trying to make money or be famous or all this junk that they do now. You know, it's like, what do you want to be, rich and famous? It was like not what we thought. You know, we just wanted to make something inventive and you know, make a mark in a different way. You know, not like by finance or fame. It was, you know, it was just exciting to us, you know, to be able to create music that nobody else had created, you know. That was it, really.
Yeah. Well, and as I said,
and it's, you know, sort of still like that now, really. You know, I do like loads of different projects just for the sake of doing them. There's no money in it or, you know, anything like that. Like, the books are doing all right, but, you know, the solo records that I do, you know, might sell 1,000 or something, you know.
Well, the records, and I think, I don't want to sidetrack, but I think, you know, you definitely, being from the generation, you know, where records were sold, and you actually sold a lot of records.
Yeah, back then, in the 80s.
What are your feelings on just the industry at the moment and how it's changed? And
that's rubbish, isn't it? Now it's like there's people have got too much.
Yeah,
there's just too much now. It's overkill. You know, you can be whatever you want, but nothing's solid. You know, you want to be a punk, you can go on like punk.com and get all the clothes. When we were starting out, there was no punk shops in Liverpool or whatever. You had to make it yourself. That was part of the whole ethos of it. You know, it was kind of do-it-yourself kind of thing. Do-it-yourself magazines, do-it-yourself clothes, do-it-yourself records, do-it-yourself gigs. It was just kind of like the record companies were shitting themselves, really. You know, because all of a sudden the power had swung into the favour of like the bands. and the bands started like indie labels and things like that. So then the big record labels had to pretend to be indie labels, otherwise they would have been sort of seen as unhip. Like Corova, our label, was really Warner Brothers, but they were pretending to be like this hipster, you know, label. But it was still using all their, you know, the mechanics of a big corporation behind it, you know. But it was, you know, so it was definitely a sort of real time of change. And I think one of the big changes was with punk that the record labels used to have a thing where they lend you the money to make the record, right? So, you know, it's your money anyway, sort of thing. So you make the record, but then you've got to pay it back by record sales. Well, in the past, if you didn't pay it back, it was returnable. You had to give them the money back somehow. So, you know, you were screwed.
It's quite gangsterish in a way. Yeah.
Then when punk came along and the tables were kind of turned a bit, they had to put these clauses in: recoupable, non-returnable. So it could only be got back by, you know, sales of records. But you got to remember as well, like that money that was paid back only came off your percentage.
Yeah.
Like, say a record sold for 10 quid or whatever, and you were getting like 2 quid of that 10 quid. That 2 quid was paying off your debt, not the 10 quid. They would get the 10 quid anyway. You know, the 8 quid that was left. So it's like, they were on a, you know, it's like the worst mortgage in the world, you know, and we're all like queuing up to sign up to these things. But, you know, that's the way it was then, you know, and it's still like that. And in fact, it's worse now because they've stopped making so much money, the record labels. They've got this thing now called a 360-degree deal. Have you heard about this?
That's right, yeah.
Where they take money from your live gigs.
Everything.
And the T-shirts and all that stuff and all your other inventive bits and bobs that you make, they're all signed in. Like, we've got a deal right now. We haven't got a 360 deal. You know, it's such a con. You know, it's such a con. You know.
Who are you signed to at the moment?
BMG.
BMG. Okay, that's one of the big players. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has changed a lot, and the music itself now actually is not. there's no real value in the music anymore. Of course, there's value, to the fans, but I'm talking there's no real commercial. You've got no commercial product that you can sell. As you say, you can do books and things like this. Has just changed so much.
Well, we make most of our money from gigs,
from live performances. Yes,
that's how we make our money.
Yeah.
That's what keeps us going, and we we do a lot of gigs, and that's how we keep going.
Well, as I say, you're down in London now to do promotion for the book, and you're doing a talk at Rough Trade.
Yeah.
Or you've just done that, or you're about to do that.
No, it's tomorrow. I'll come down a day early to see Brian, have a cup of tea, get this book, and hang for half an hour or so. A couple of hours.
And I'm going to come to the gig.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, you're also on the list for the Albert Hall, by the way.
Oh, I'd love to be at the Albert.
How come you've got a BAFTA over there? Is that a BAFTA?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
What did you get that for?
For a commercial I did in 91.
Wow.
And it was a big commercial. It was one of the world's top commercials or whatever. I don't know, whatever it was. It was only a commercial. Like a minute and a half film. It was for a hotel chain called Forte around the world.
Wow.
And for Saatchi & Saatchi, the advertising agency, with the creative was Paul Arden, the late Paul Arden, a great man, I have to say, one of the great advertising art directors. And
because you worked in that world quite a lot, didn't you? The advertising world.
I did.
And also corporate kind of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of corporate work. I did a lot of corporate work when I was with you, working with you over those albums, and I did a lot of corporate work, and I started advertising in 1980, so I wasn't there for the first album. I wasn't doing it when I did the first album,
right.
Crocodiles, but I was there for the other three, doing corporate work whilst I did your album. I had a great time in those days. Corporate, advertising, rock, editorial. It was just pouring in, loads of work.
Yeah.
But I remember so well our times together. I remember it so well, like little things. Remember lots of little things. They were passing through my mind as you were talking, Will, about what it was like. We were a brat. I'd like to say this, of course. This is a little bit exaggerated. We were like a band of brothers for our 4 albums. Yeah. We were mates, Yeah. I wasn't photographing 4 guys I didn't really know. I was photographing 4 men that I regard as friends.
Yeah.
So
and
it was
the crew
different.
as well, like Bill Butt.
And the crew, yeah,
and
absolutely.
Bill Drummond and everybody.
Bill Drummond, Bill Butt, everybody.
Yeah. That going to Iceland.
Yeah.
Let's just show this picture.
Yeah.
Like that was an adventure. That's the sort of adventure that Shackleton or somebody should be on. It wasn't like an artistic.
It's an artistic thing. But I remember the first.
These are great prints, by the way.
Vaughn organises that. These are Vaughn's
so much
prints.
better than the record cover.
So much better. What happened was, I remember we all met at Heathrow Airport to go to Iceland.
Yeah.
And it was really strange. We went down the ramp to get onto the Iceland Air plane, and we got on the plane all together. So we were going to sit all together smoking fags and whatever, because it was smoking days in those days. Everybody smoked. And it was all dark in the plane.
Yeah.
It was all like dimly lit. It wasn't like bright lights in the cabin. It was like really dark. And there was all these like sort of really like all these strange noises, which were Icelandic, people speaking Icelandic. Whatever it sounded like. It was, I thought, oh God, we are going. I thought, I've been around the world a bit even by then, and I thought, oh God, this is something.
Yeah.
So you were on that plane, weren't you?
Yeah. Well,
you definitely were. Because
I remember when we were coming back, the plane couldn't take off.
No, it couldn't.
Because it kept icing up and it was too heavy. And they tried to take off a few times, didn't they?
Yeah.
There was a blizzard going on. So when we went to Iceland, remember then the plane, it iced up and it couldn't take off.
That was coming back. I remember it.
Yeah.
Do you know? I mean, at least I'm going to give you some information because my brain is really old now. You're a lot younger and you can
Not that much younger.
You can remember things. Well, not that much younger.
Like Grandad.
And what happened was that there was a blizzard, blizzard, and we got on the plane.
Yeah.
We got on the plane, and the plane was rocking because it was like so violent. The winds were, and the snow was horizontal, and the blizzard was, and then we couldn't get off the plane because there was ice on the ground. Yeah. So they put a queue of airport workers from the aeroplane to the
like big vans, weren't they? Where the vans, the stairs and everything.
And we all held on to the workers and that as we walked.
Had a rope.
Had a rope. I don't remember the rope, but the rope.
Yeah, they had a rope. They were like.
And we went along the rope, and then, but the trouble was, all the power had gone in the airport.
That's right. Yeah.
So we had candles. We had candles and beers, of course, tons of beers. As it's normal in Iceland anyway. We have to drink beer, and then we got into it was only like a shack or something. The terminal.
Yeah, it was. It was just a shed.
Just a shed.
It was like, it was in Keflavik Airport.
Now it's like. It's
become a destination now, isn't it?
Wow, I mean, it's really a great airport now. Yeah. But it was just like a shed. And we're there and Mac or you, or it could have been Les, kind of said, we want you as our tour manager. Either you said it or Les said it, I think, or I don't think Pete would have said it, but Mac might have said it. We want you as the tour manager. I mean, everything had gone totally wrong. And so we were just drinking in the airport. And then we went out again down the ropes to the airport. And then the plane was still shaking and he was revving the engine.
I remember they tried to actually take off.
They tried and they didn't.
And then they slowed down and we're all like, oh God, we're going to die. And I kept going back. And then they de-iced it. They had like a big truck with a big tanker on the back of it and they were spraying this de-icing stuff on it.
That's right.
But by the time they'd done one wing, and got to the other side, this wing had frozen up again because it was the blizzard was so mad. Yeah. And it was Jesus. And right down the gully down there, down the crevice, is Bill Buck changing his film, isn't it? You can see him.
Bill Buck ran over to me. Bill Buck did. He said, I've screwed up, Brian, I've screwed up. I put the film through twice. I said, don't worry, Bill. Don't worry, Bill. It'll probably be fabulous. It was quite good. It was a great film. Yeah. He's a great man, Bill. But I haven't seen him for years. But you were down there, and then there was like a faint spray, wasn't there? Spraying over us, and I was like cracking my jacket. My jacket would crack. With like iced up, my jacket did.
You had +4s on.
I never wore trousers in the early 80s. Didn't wear trousers. I wore +4s. Which was appropriate for that actually.
Yeah.
But Mac had just got pumps on.
Yeah, like some little flimsy shoes or something, He
just got pumps on, Mac had. And I remember anyway getting away from Golfos. Then we went up. Then a blizzard really started.
Yeah.
And
on the way back.
And it was on a single bag, wasn't it, or something, or not a single bag, a press shot or something. With the blizzard and the cars.
I think it's on the inside cover, isn't it? Of Porcupine.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't got any vinyl now. Oh, right.
It's like you can't really tell who's. Well, you can sort of tell who's who, but it's all misty and. It was nuts, like crazy to stop the car. Let's do a photo here.
It's
you couldn't tell which way was up.
This was the third album. We did 2 albums before that.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about the first one, Will?
Yeah.
There you go.
Crocodiles. Yeah. Well, everyone goes on that's like a bunny rabbit's face.
Yeah. And Bill Drummond really capitalises on it.
Yeah.
I hope he'll do it. We think he'll do it tomorrow night and we'll go on one of those.
He might do, yeah.
Might do, hasn't he? Because we ended up in Iceland, because what happened, Bill Drummond, was it on a ley line or something? I can't remember. Because you said to me, why the bloody hell are we going to Iceland? We could do it in Scotland.
I'm glad we went though, it was great. It was an adventure. No, I think it was just a coincidence, the rabbit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and a lot of people still don't see it as a rabbit, but it's kind of got that bunny eye.
Yeah.
It could be the ears.
Ears, yeah.
You know.
I never knew it was. Just a tree.
Yeah.
It was just a tree.
Yeah,
but
just a
I remember it.
coincidence, really.
We had, as you say quite rightly in your new book, which is fabulous the way. I love the way you write, Will. It's just, you write like your sense of humour. I've got a bit of sense of humour. I think it's been drummed out of me, really. I need to meet you a bit more often again. But when you say, like, what happened was that we got all the lights, and the Bunnymen arrived, and they were looking around all the lights, because we were young men then. How old were you?
22 or something, 20.
Were you?
25.
That young?
Let's see, when was it? 1980?
I can't remember.
Yeah, 80, wasn't it? I'll be 22.
22. Were you the oldest Bunnymen or the youngest, or what?
I'm the oldest by 6 days.
Right. Who's the second oldest?
Les.
Les, he looks it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I love you, Les, you know I do. We're still mates, aren't we? You live in Australia now. But I can tell you like that, you won't come and punch me one. So we've done Crocodiles, so now we move on to probably the most famous of all the album covers, probably now, is this one, Will, which is Heaven Up Here.
Heaven Up Here. Yeah, it's great. Pete had recently shaved his head. I think that's why he had a hat.
He had actually, yeah, he had. You're right. I mean, I went to Rockfield. Had I been to Rockfield before? I didn't go there. Did I go and see Iggy? I don't think. Did he do Boredom there?
Yeah, he was there just before we got there. And then
maybe I went down to see Iggy as well. But I mean, Rockfield, I think the food was good, apparently. I can remember.
Great.
It's not just a farm, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I went there not long back. I went there earlier on this year.
What, to record your album? Or?
No, just to have a look. Research.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I had to go and I phoned them up and said, can I come down and have a look round, you know. And it's pretty much the same, right? Pretty much the same. The house on the hill, which is where we stayed when we were doing Heaven Up Here, that's a bit ramshackle now because it needs, you know, the person that owned it died or something like that. But it's, you know, that's a great spec. But it all looked smaller than what I remembered, you know.
Well, for this album cover, I had the fabulous Ricardo. I think it was the Ricardos that were there. There were two of them. I'm not certain, but it's certainly, we had Ricardo Gomes Perez, a Venezuelan young man who was studying photography in London at the time at the London College of Communication, which is called the London College of Printing then. And he came on both shoots. That was the Crocodiles, the first one, and Heaven Up Here, the second one. And then I remember that guy with one of those sort of, your mate wrapped it like a turban around his head, didn't he? Like one of those scarves.
Yeah, we got a name.
He was chucking the offal everywhere, wasn't he?
Oh, that was Jake.
Oh, that was Jake.
Yeah, that was Jake.
The peg, Jake. Yeah.
And he got a big bucket of fish guts and sprats and whatever.
I remember he had it in a big plastic bin bag,
right,
and put it in.
Must have stank.
I would have put my hand in there. Maybe he poured it in there or something.
No, I remember him throwing it around. He must have had gloves on or something.
Oh my God!
And
all the internals of the fish, you know.
Yeah, all the seagulls came from miles around, didn't they?
And they wouldn't go anywhere close to you. The seagulls are going nowhere near you.
But I think we kept putting the fish guts nearer. So
and they gradually crept in. They gradually gained a bit of. And then we can talk about so much. And then we did a few pictures there, which will all appear in the new Bunnymen book next year. And and then we went off and did some offshot, which I quite like what we did after that.
Yeah, we went
got all the flares out.
It was like a rocky outcrop, wasn't it? And you had a flare. And
then you're in Les or whatever. You're covered in red smoke around. Yeah. And had things they use on yachts or something.
Yeah, like a
distress flares I got. And then then Les didn't he let one off for me? And I mean that's such a cumbersome bloody camera. and I just panned with the flare gun and shooting across because they shot like a gun across, and I panned it, and that was the cover of Promise, the 12-inch, and the 12-inch was beautiful. It's one of my favourite shots there.
And the 7-inch was basically like that, but with just the birds.
They're really good as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this album cover, which amazed me in a way, a little bit, which I was delighted with, is in like the top 100 album covers in Rolling Stone or something.
Yeah.
I thought I've taken it all
I think a few of them are, aren't they?
Maybe a few of them are.
I think so. I don't know.
I mean, this guy who interviewed
is.
me for a podcast called Nick, I think, last night, from Albuquerque, which I told you about. He wanted to know all about these covers. He was really into them.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant covers, aren't they?
Like, everyone loves them.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. It was great.
Right, and in them days, obviously there was no Photoshop.
No.
These are real. That's what's great about them. You can tell they're real.
They are real.
We're actually in them places.
Oh God!
Ocean Rain. Yeah. So, Jake Riviera.
Yeah. What happened was you were all recording in this studio, which could house an orchestra, couldn't it? I mean, you know more about it than I do.
Well, we recorded
Paris.
it in France.
Yeah, in
Paris.
Paris. Yeah.
Studio des Dames.
Studio des Dames. Yeah.
Des Dames.
Des Dames. Okay.
I don't know quite. I'm not sure what it means. I think it means
of women.
Yeah, something like that. And it was a really cool place. It was like old school, kind of bit like the BBC used to be.
I remember that actually.
Yeah.
I remember the interior, all wood and stuff.
Yeah. It was down little corridors, and they had loads of wacky instruments there, and we kind of used them as well. Like they had one of them pianos where they've overstrung it, and they put like thumbtacks, drawing pins in the beaters on the piano, so it gives it like a metallic ping.
Oh, wow.
They had one of them, and they have this amazing plate reverb, which is like a great big unit that puts like a sort of big spacey echo on everything.
Wow.
And it was huge. It was down this corridor, and they also had a kind of like an echo chamber room, but it was like a little sort of bath, kind of swimming baths kind of thing. You had to go down a little ladder to get in it, and I did some guitar in there.
Oh wow!
We had to lower the amp down through this little hatch.
Is any of the guitar work on it?
Yeah, on the solo bit of Ocean Rain. This track.
Which track?
Ocean Rain.
The track. Oh wow!
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen for that now.
It's like a big echoey sound.
Right.
There's all spiders in there, and there was no lights, so it was like just, I think Jake was punching a torch in there or something. It was just like, tell us about how Jake Riviera came to, and how come we ended up in that cave.
Okay, I'll tell you. What happened was that for some unapparent reason, there was Anglia Television wanted to do a documentary on me.
Yeah, something like that.
Remember
it's on
that?
YouTube, isn't it?
And so I was trapped in the confines of doing this documentary for one start. They knew I'd got to do Echo and the Bunnymen's Ocean Rain. They sort of knew that. But
we talked about it in the documentary, I think. You talked about it?
Maybe, I can't remember that. I haven't seen that. Maybe I did. I've seen it, but I can't remember it.
So you must have had a plan, what you were going to do with us.
So...
Because it was the day before, wasn't it? I think.
So Rob didn't know. I went down like maybe a week before. I shot this in this.
Wow.
I think it was a good week, because what happened was that Rob Dickens, again, the boss of Corova, wanted me to photo, and Bill Drummond maybe, I'm not certain about that, wanted me to shoot the cover in Paris. But I had the real hump about that. I didn't want to do that. I wanted us to keep in
We like the
nature.
natural surroundings.
The natural surroundings.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. It would blow it. We'd work 3 albums, of stayed in there, and then we'd come in the city.
Yeah.
That was a crazy idea, I thought. So I
I
didn't
remember that. I remember like thinking, no, we want it like natural. You know,
Want it
it
natural.
fits.
So against Robert and against Bill.
They were probably just thinking it'd be cheaper, get you over there, knock out a few pictures and a bit of, you know, Sacré-Cœur behind us or whatever, and off you, Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, so because you're over there anyway, so there's no extra cost. So I went there with my assistant Stuart Graham, who was the assistant on all the album covers that we've talked about, and I must give him credit, a great assistant. And then with Ricardo Gomes Perez, the fabulous Ricardos, and Ricardo Jimenez, we were all like a band of brothers.
Ricardos, didn't you?
You what, sorry?
You had a plethora of Ricardos.
I had a plethora. We'd almost died after doing Heaven Up Here, if you remember. We were all in that black 7-seater, and I was driving, and we came out of Porthcawl or whatever, and we went up in this truck, almost hit us.
Wow.
Oh, the truck, you know, was coming from the right and almost hit us.
Wow.
But that's just another story.
Were we in it? Or was it just...
We were all in it. We thought we were going to die.
God.
So apart from dying up in Iceland, we almost died in Porthcawl, Wales.
You've got to, you know, risk a few things for art.
For art, yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I went over to Paris to see her with Stuart. We went in this, I had these little lamps in the back of the light, these 4 of these things. And I driving along by the Seine to come to your studio where you were all working. And there was a complete set of railings along the side, and the sun was very strong, and it like produced like a strobe, and it really affected me in the taxi. I was having anxiety in the taxi.
All right,
Coming
epilepsy,
into
can't it?
Type of epilepsy.
Yeah.
Fit. I was having an anxiety fit, and it was just, I just felt terrible. Anyway, it went away, the fit, thankfully. We came to your studio, paid the cab, went into your studio, saw that place like you explained.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't know whether it created a mood in me or whatever, or helped me focus even more, I don't know. But I said, I'm going home, I'm not doing it here. I'm not going to do it in Paris, I'm going home.
Yeah.
So I went home, i.e. back to London, didn't take any photographs at all, nothing. And I said to Rob, Rob Dickens that is, I said, I haven't done it, Rob. I'm not going to take the picture over there. I went there, but I'm not going to do it. But I'd met Jake Riviera very quickly after my way back for some apparent reason.
And he was the boss of Stiff, wasn't he?
He had been the boss of Stiff with Dave Robinson. He'd left Stiff with Elvis, and he'd moved to was it prior Warner Bros as well? He moved to Radar Records.
Oh yeah, that's right.
As a manager of Elvis. And Jake said, well, I've got a cave down in Cornwall. Why don't you come down there with a lagoon in it as well, and a small boat I've got. I said, wow, that'd be fantastic. We haven't been in a cave. We've done we've been up near the glaciers. We were up in near the winter in Iceland. We've been on beaches, and we've been in forests. So it was perfect. Well, the 4th one, somewhere completely different, but outdoors as well. And I told Rob this, and but before I did the shoot, I did The Killing Moon. It was the first video I'd ever done, and I couldn't produce. I didn't know what to do, you know. So I did a bad job on producing it. It cost me £3,000 more than the budget. And Rob said, well, we're not going to pay the £3,000, you're going to spend it on the album cover down in Jake's cave. So I had to do the album cover sort of free, you know. So I got these Angler TV also attached to me with this, and they came down to the cave. I don't know if you remember them filming in the cave. And
Yeah.
And they came down to the cave, so I was locked into that as well, because they got a production schedule, and they got to do it, you know, with you, because I'd said I was going to do it with you. and they did. We went down to the cave, and then we took hours lighting this cave. Hours, didn't we?
Yeah.
And you were trying to get rid of a chain with Les was trying to with his oar.
Yeah.
And then
we didn't want to eat, like, really having the boat in it was kind of like, well, that doesn't really fit in with the cover. We were a bit like sniffy about that, thinking, well, yeah, the others haven't got anything man-made in them at all.
That's true. It's very true.
Except my, Grady Market suit.
Yeah. So your suit and also the flares.
Yeah, the flares. Yeah.
Flares on
the trousers. You had the trousers on.
And I mean, Mac was coming over, and I mean, you see, Mac to and then I started to get all like psychedelic, didn't I? Well, you ought to be a bit psychedelic, I said, or something like that. It's all in that documentary.
Yeah.
You can see it on YouTube. It's a documentary on by Anglia Television of us filming there. There's a little bit on my website if you want to go into my website, but the main full documentary is actually on YouTube. So we went down and we did it in the cave.
That photo, it's just so much better than the cover. Like, the colours are brilliant. Like, the cover's amazing, like, but the colours on that.
Because
And you can really see the chain there, because it's a slate mine, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah. Yeah, it could be slate, could have been tin, couldn't it? I don't remember which one it was.
Tin was kind of a thing down there when Cornwall.
Maybe it was slate, maybe it was tin. Yeah, wow.
So what lights did you use to light that up?
Though the same sort of lights or the same quantity of lighting as we used in Crocodiles.
So you had a big... I can't remember.
A generator. They actually all the way down to the cave. They had cables. I would hate to have put those cables all the way down to the cave.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite a way in, wasn't it?
It was quite a way in, yeah. What a great location, though.
Yeah, and that water was so clear. Yeah. Les was kind of in charge of steering.
Yeah.
He's a salty sea dog.
He is, yeah. So, I mean, that was the last of our relationship, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, what a shame.
I know, we gave you the elbow.
And I got the elbow, yeah. Same with Depeche Mode, I got the elbow off Echo and the Bunnymen later. Sorry, before I got the elbow off Depeche Mode as well. And Anton did both, didn't they? Came on both, which I've nothing against. Anton was just doing his job.
Yeah.
Nothing against him.
I wasn't happy about you going, really, Brian. Tell you the truth.
So be it.
Right, Mr. Sergeant, I'm going to hand these to you. You're both very proud of these. Tell us a bit about that one.
Actually.
You what?
I don't like them. I think they're cheesy. Well, I haven't even got them,
Yeah, I think a lot of people find them...
They're a bit corny, aren't they?
Yeah, but it was part of the time when it...
Yeah.
It's the period. Yeah. These are from my personal collection. And they're two covers I'm proud of, obviously, and I'm like that. I'll keep everything, really. Yeah. Like any
well, these records aren't the actual records,
No, they're not.
It could be like, black and white minstrels and it could be anything.
It's very true. You are right. You are right, Will. I know that as well, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, although there is five tracks on it. Let's see that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tracks on that one. It's possible, but I don't think they are. They're like Frank Sinatra or somebody.
Or could be someone like, let me just have a think, Box Fizz or something.
Could be, you're lucky. You can always smash them open and play it. Let's get this party started.
Oh.
Well, thank you so much for coming down to. He's your good friend, so I suppose it's a pleasure for you as well. But really wish. I mean, this one did really well. Yeah. Sunday Times bestseller, and I wish you all the best of luck with this one as well, guys. Links to everything related to Will, it will be in the description below. Will, we wish you all the best with everything, but I mean, you don't need our luck.
Thanks a lot, Vaughn.
So thank you very much for coming onto the channel, and we'll hopefully see you again sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Nice one.
Nice one,
Cheers,
Will.
Brian.
Love you, mate.
See ya. Get the kettle on.